Okay. Well, good. So let's talk about it again. Let me share the board. Okay. And let me raise the board. Just a minute. I need to raise it. Okay. It's better. Okay. Well, so again, so let's see what, of course, tourism can bring many benefits to a country, but it also has its downsides. So the first one, as you mentioned yesterday, environmental damage, that, over tourism. Actually, it's not about tourism. So it's like over tourism, of course. So this can actually lead to the destruction of natural habitat. So it destroys pollution, waste, so destruction of natural habitats.
Yeah, destruction.
Yeah, of course. So it's like, and waste problems, so pollution problems, and we discussed. And you know that popular tourist attractions, of course, may suffer from overcrowding. That again leads to damage the ecosystem, wildlife, historical sites. So we have overcrowding.
Overcrowding.
Of
Yes.
course, overcrowding, and especially popular tourist attractions. Like, for example, places that most of tourists tend to visit and to go and visit. And the next one actually is about economy. Of course, it can be really good, but if you actually become dependent on tourism, I mean, economically dependent on tourism, it can be a little bit negative. So maybe sometimes, I don't know, due to different reasons like natural disasters, I don't know, political reason, maybe you can't have actually this industry, or maybe this industry can face like a decrease in your country, like downturn, but it can lead some maybe negative effect on your economy. So if countries or regions, okay, become economically dependent on tourism. So of course it's good. So on one side, one aspect, it's really good. Of course, you can make money through this actually industry. On the other hand, so sometimes we have, I don't know, some global issues, natural disasters, I don't know, problems between just, among countries and governments. So maybe this tourism related industries, okay, can, if, can occur, we can say just, I don't know, like when fluctuations, okay, happens in tourist arrivals. So if you can't get the number of people who you expect, so maybe your economy will actually be affected significantly. So, okay, the next one is maybe economically good and bad. And the third one, I want you to explain it. Tell me about cultural impact of tourism.
Culture.
Cultural impact.
Yes. Culture impact. Have a good impact. We have to change um, maybe the behavior to be warmer when we welcome the tourists. We cultural impact. We have to change to change ourselves to attract more tourists come to town, make the city cleaner and beautiful with a lot, decorate with a lot of flowers, plant more trees to have more interest from the tourists.
Okay, and don't you think that is a manufactured experience rather than a true representation? Like, it's not in actual real life, the local culture, yeah, for example, I don't know, you have some traditions, you have some, for example, your local culture. Now you want to show actually a better version of it. So do you don't you think that it's a kind of, loss of authenticity, like, it's authenticity, like, for example, it's something manufactured, it's not real, don't you think? Because you want to make something more attractive, interesting, don't you think? So it can be negative. Yeah, from this actually side, I think. So maybe human this way, tourists may expect a manufactured experience rather than true representation of the local culture. And it's called the loss of authenticity. Loss of authenticity. That is, it's not real. So of course, it's really good, but it's not really good. Maybe it's downside. And about, actually, when we talk about cultural impact, maybe cultural erosion can be another downside. What is that? Actually, when you actually welcome many tourists every year, maybe this can directly affect your local traditions, your language, your lifestyle. So maybe you can see this change in people's behavior, and maybe it can ruin some actually traditions, local tradition, don't you think?
Yes.
So this is another downside. Okay. Well, and you mentioned yesterday, you talked about price increases. And of course, this is another problem, maybe, that it happens. Of course, it's really normal. You know that we have inflation in actually local prices. So change. Housing, renting, goods, food, and I don't know. And this can happen when it actually this happens, it can affect local people's lives. You need to pay, so you want to actually receive get a basic service, and you need to pay more. So maybe this can be another downside of tourism, and of course ways that we talked and about. And the last one, tell me about safety, security and safety issues. What do you think about this one?
Safety. We always aware. We raise awareness of securities to protect the tourists, to make them come to my hometown and feel safe. Yes, and we always in some grounding, somewhere in some places crowded, we remind tourists through the speaker that take care your belongings.
Yeah.
Their belongings, and have them to to have a safety.
Yeah, of course. So you know that, yeah, actually tourism hotspots, so the cities that actually we can say receive lots of tourists every year, they can become targets of crime. So like pickpocketing and theft. And you said, yeah, of course, you can have announcements and to maybe raise people awareness about crimes like, pickpocketing and theft. And yes, so this is another problem. Okay, well, let's see. So we talked about this one,
Yes.
protest, ruins, of course we discussed it, and fed up.
Fed up.
Yeah,
More
of course.
annoyed.
Yeah, as you can see, bored, annoyed, disappointed. So that is the meaning of fed up. And could you please read the sentence?
Living a few miles away from Bùi Viện, I'm getting fed up with constant noises and music from the parks on the street. Yes.
Yeah, of course. I'm getting fed up, of course.
That Bùi Viện is a walking street
Yeah.
for tourists and foreigners. There are a lot of bars around the street, around
Ah,
the streets, and
ah,
yes, you can come to and have a wine, have a dish, have a meal, and dancing there. Um, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, I don't like to come there because a lot of noises. There are a lot of
yeah,
noise and
of
music.
course.
And the girls there, they their dressings uh, improperly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
inappropriately. Yeah, of course. Got it. So will you
mm,
mean local people or tourists?
local people, I think, to attract the tourists come to their bars, and they
Got it.
they try to pull. They try to call you come there to their bar. Uh, I I I I feel annoyed. I feel being annoyed. I being annoyed. I
Yeah, I become, I get fed up or annoyed. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, I got it actually. just you can't say I feel being annoyed, so you know that it's not grammatically correct. Just I feel annoyed is better. So I feel annoyed. Okay. Yeah, so you feel like that, they dress up inappropriately. Of course, not inappropriate. Maybe it's not something that you normally wear in actually daily life. So, but it's something specifically for that area to attract more tourists, to get more tourists inside. Yeah, so in front of every just club or bar, so you can see some people with just open clothes dresses, and they try to, I don't know, they call people, like this. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
In Indonesia or Singapore or Malaysia, I come to the or Cambodia. I come to the walking street like Bùi Viện. Bùi Viện is a city, and I used to come to walking streets in many countries, and it's the same. They are the same.
So it's like, in some Asian countries, you have this walking street and you can see, and of course there's some, I think so, yeah. So it's a kind of maybe tourism, just a part of tourism sector, like, just maybe this is an area that, of course, is really normal. So you can, yeah, got it. Yeah, but actually, let me ask you if, so people live in this area, so it's so crowded as I can see in the picture. So isn't it annoying for the people, for the local people who live there?
Yes, I think so. Because I don't like to live there, so I think they don't have another opportunity to move to other places,
Yeah,
They
of
have to
course.
live there, and maybe they get used to noises too.
That's yeah, of course. Yeah, they try to. Of course, they should try to get the so, oh yeah, crowded. Like I can see, but this is a
But it's
tourism
not
area.
very crowded. It's crowded in some occasions, some holidays or
Of course.
inter holiday or in the at the weekend.
Peak
Uh,
season, you mean?
yeah, peak season. Yeah.
Yeah, in peak season, of course, it's crowded. Yeah, got it. That's
And the price at the price of dishes or the price we have to pay for the restaurant there is uh, expensive. So I think the local people there can earn a lot from walking street. Yes.
yeah, got it. Of course. Yeah, got it. Well, that is so colorful, lively and colorful. Yeah. And this one, regulations, so rules.
Rules. Yeah.
Of course, if people care, so that is really important. So rule or law. And you know that we need to introduce regulation, put regulation to improve actually maybe safety, to improve and to deal with some issues like, for example, environmental issues, and so something that is caused by tourism. And yeah, governments in many coastal cities like Nha Trang or Dana have imposed strict regulation on littering in order to prevent the beaches from being polluted with tourist plastic waste. That is really good, of course.
Strict. Impose.
Yeah. That is yeah. And is it and so tell me if actually people just follow these rules and or no.
What? Sorry?
So because, you know, you, as you can see, so about this two area, they've imposed strict regulation, like rules, okay? And I want to know that if people just, you know, follow the rules and try not to maybe later, or no, just they don't care.
Oh no, the locals, the locals people, they follow the rules. In Nha Trang and Da Nang, that tourist city, they it they have beautiful beaches, and there the people live by tourism, so they have good awareness about protect the environment.
Yeah, because that's really actually important. So, you know, we have natural attractions that maybe if they destroy, if they ruin, we won't have them anymore. So in the future, there won't be any beautiful greenery, green space. So that is really important to protect them, unfortunately. So maybe in some areas. So I think people nowadays really care for the environment.
Yeah.
So yeah, they try not to litter or I don't know, not to damage, but there's still people who don't care. And this one, evict. Okay. Uh, to force somebody to leave a house or land. Could you please read
Evict,
this sentence? Evict, of course, evict.
evict.
Yeah.
For somebody to leave.
Yeah. It's, you
To
know what happens? So why, when you force someone to leave, for example, a property, normally because, I don't know, they're not paying rent, or I don't know, they maybe for violating just, you know, the terms of the agreement. So because of this, like you eject, yeah, that is the meaning of it. So you force someone to leave a property somewhere because they do something wrong. They don't pay rent, or for example, they do something that is not a part of, I don't know, your agreement. So this is the meaning of evict. In order to build a new resort near the beach, hundreds of locals are evicted, ejected, so are forced to leave, which
yeah.
cause frustration and, of course,
Yes, in Vietnam it's popular. It's common um, to ask the locals uh, evict to yes, it's
to
common
evict,
for
of course.
Vietnam to for asking locals to evict from their homes area, and it's
Evict.
also cause and it also causes frustration and anger from the locals. Uh, yes, because to build a new urban city, they want to make a new city or a new yeah.
Okay, so do they pay people to do this? Yeah, do they pay people?
We have to pay. Yeah, the government or the enterprises, enterprise a company, the private company, they do that. They paid the local a lot of money to ask them evict from their house. Uh,
Leave there, to ask them leave.
leave,
So when you
leave,
say evict, like, you know,
to
you
leave.
force them. Yeah, it's like there is no other choice. But you ask them, so it's like, you know, you ask them to leave. Okay?
Ask them to leave, but
Yeah,
some of
of
them
course.
don't like. They don't. want.
So they are evicted, of course. So if they don't, they are evicted from their homes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So complicated. There are causes, quarrels, argument, fightings from these issues.
These issues. Okay, so yeah, maybe some people, okay, of course, it's not acceptable. So maybe some locals don't tend to, and they don't want, like, but they have to. So of course, so it happens, like sometimes it happens. So yeah.
How about your country? Maybe you will have to make a new city or make you have the same situation with the local.
Actually, I've never experienced something like this. So at least in my area or my actually hometown or my actually city, I haven't experienced something like this. Yes, sometimes it happens that you have to, but it's not something that you want to do or government. For example, actually, it's been it was last month, the wildfire of Los Angeles. So some people actually needed to and had to leave their homes. And, of course, local authorities asked them to leave, but it was because of danger. So, of course, yeah, they were not paid by the government because they needed to leave, of course, to actually save their lives. But I don't know. So I haven't experienced something like this. So I have no idea about it, that what will happen if, yeah. Well, okay, and now let's use them. Well,
Okay. I like to make the sentences with the new vocabulary because am not good at this.
you are. Why not? Of course you are. Just try.
I try to make the sentence to remember the words where I learned. Protest. Um, 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 uh, I I think the U.S. people have a freedom to protest the government, but in Vietnam we cannot protest the government directly because the government or policemen will come to your house and
You will
imprison
be arrested.
arrest.
Yeah.
We don't have a freedom.
So,
So sometimes people say that people in the world say that Vietnam is safe to live, or Vietnam is have a good security. But no, the Vietnamese people don't dare to protest the government freely.
freely, of course.
Really.
Yeah, okay. Well, so protests, about protests, we normally protest against something. So, yeah, I think you can say, I think people in the US have the freedom to protest against the government. Yeah, protest again. Okay, and the next one.
Protest again.
Ruin. Against, of course.
Rule. In 1975, the last the last neck democracy. Let me, please give me some minute.
Sure.
Democratic Republic. I want to say that in 1975 in Vietnam, the last democratic republic, the government was ruled. Before 1975, in Vietnam, we have a president like Donald Trump, but at that time, the Democratic Republic government were ruled.
And what happened? Just let me ask you. So now you don't have president?
Yes.
You don't have a president?
Yes.
So what do you?
Also, we are the socialist republic, not a democratic.
Yeah, of course. So, human ruin here is not actually ruin. Maybe you can say overthrown. Okay. So before 1975, as you said, yeah, of course, Vietnam had a president similar to actually Donald Trump. Yeah, but at that time, the Democratic Republic government was dismantled. So ruin is not really good. Like you can have better words. And because when you say ruined, it's like, overthrown here is better. Or for example, you can say dismantled because this is ruin is too casual. So let me write it here. Of course you can use, but it's too, let me write it here. Okay. So you can say overthrown, this one. Yeah. Or dismantle, this good. Yeah. Because you are talking about actually a formal, and this is a formal context. You're talking about something, an event. Just, it's better to use more formal words like overthrown or dismantle. So both mean just ruin something. So the last Democratic Republic was actually 1975 in your country. And after that, of course, the government just, that actually government was reigned, overthrown, and or dismantled. And now you don't have a president, yeah?
I make another sentence. Because of earthquake, there are a lot of villages in Vietnam was ruined.
Ruin, of course.
Village is ruined.
Yeah. So, okay, so let me ask you, so people decided not to have it? Not to have a president?
We have two socialists Socialist and democratic and society, and Ho Chi Minh is socialist, and the president is belongs democratic. So Ho Chi Minh fight and they win. They won. The Ho Chi Minh soldier fight to they have a fight and they won the war.
Yeah, got it. So it was, you know, so you have two systems actually. You have two, yeah,
We had two parties in the
two
north.
systems, of course. Got it. So socialist and democratic. Socialist and democratic, of course. So Ho Chi Minh was socialist, while a president, of course, belonged to the democratic system.
Yes.
So
and you know the U.S. The U.S. Try to help the president, but they lose.
yeah.
Ho Chi Minh, they lose in the war between Ho Chi Minh and the president.
Yeah, got it. So actually they you want to say that they had a battle. Fight? No, they had a battle.
Yeah, a battle. We have a
Yeah,
battle.
of course. Yeah, of course. And yeah, the US tried to help, but unfortunately they couldn't. Okay, so you have two systems in your country and the first one, as you said, so socialist, and the next one just democratic. That president belonged actually to democratic system.
Yes.
And yeah, so Ho Chi
Yeah.
Minh, yeah, was a socialist. Yeah, got it. Yeah, just let me say, Ho Chi Minh, the
Now
US tried to help to socialist or democratic system. I think presidency, like democratic.
Yes.
Yeah, so, but Ho Chi Minh was socialist. Yeah, of course. Got it. Got it. Yeah, I got it then.
And the socialists in the north of Vietnam and the democratic system is in the south of Vietnam. So now Ho Chi Minh won the battle and he unified the country.
Yeah.
And they make our countries unified. We don't have two system anymore, and now Vietnam has only one socialist system until now. From
Yeah.
1975 until now, we have only one, but it's still socialist, not
Yeah, of course.
democratic.
Yeah, of course. So your country became unified as a result of the actually war because Ho Chi Minh won the war and he unified the country. So you no longer have two systems. Now Vietnam has only one socialist system, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Unify the country. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Vietnam became a unified country.
Of course, became unified. Just unified is okay, of course. Yeah, got it. Which one was better? If you, for example, if you had a chance to choose, which one would you go for?
Because I'm in the south of Vietnam, my parents and my grandparents like the democratic system,
Democratic, of course.
because we have a good lives there. We had good lives at that time. We have the U.S. help us a lot, so we have a very prosperity lives. A lot of we richer than now, maybe richer. We have a lot of money. We have a good life there at that time. But when the Ho Chi Minh won the battle, won the war, we became to like the poor, became poorer and poorer. We lost the Ho Chi Minh. Check our properties. Because in the north, was poorer than the south. So they came to the south and stole properties, stole all the things of the southern people. So some of the southern people came to had to go abroad. That's why there are a lot of Vietnamese people living in other country now because of 1975 war.
Got it.
They have to leave Vietnam because they hate and they fear Ho Chi Minh system.
Of course, it's not fair.
Yeah, and now in Vietnam, inside Vietnam, we always have two parties.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we said that Vietnam became a unified country, but in fact, we still have two parties.
Yeah, of course. So at that time, yeah, you had a prosperous life, a lot. Actually, you were rich, you had your own properties, richer than now, and maybe richer, and you had enough money to live. But of course, after that, where you had to leave your property to actually another maybe part of your country. So it's like, so of course, people became poorer. Yeah, got it. So it's not fair. Why? Yeah.
Okay, make a sentence.
Yeah, please. So I was thinking about it. So what is it? Why? I can't address it. Yeah, the next one.
Fed up with, boring, annoying. I don't have a thing to fed up with me, to make me fed up with. I don't have. I try to remember what did, what
Good for
was
you. Good for you. Perfect life.
like.
You.
Okay. Maybe in my badminton team, there are women who are always fed up with I don't know how to make a sentence. I want to say that that woman always make a noise to others. Oh no, terrible sentence.
So that is really good, actually, that you have nothing to say. And so nothing big, yeah, of course, nothing makes you worried, or yeah, makes you feel worried, yeah.
Okay, I try to make another sentence. Okay. You know, do you like karaoke? Sing.
Yeah. Can be.
Yeah. I'm fed up with on the noise from the neighbor, from my neighbor, because they sing karaoke 7 days in week. 7 days in a week.
Happy neighbors. So happy.
They have another things to do.
Of course, I know that is like, okay, got it. So, I'm fed up with all the noises from my neighbor, you said? Okay, from my neighbors. Yeah, 7 days a week. 7 days a week.
A
Okay.
week, yeah.
Yeah, of course. 7 days a week. Yeah.
On the noises.
Yeah, of course.
In this.
So I'm fed up with all the noise from my neighbors because they sing karaoke 7 days a week.
Every time they sing karaoke, I want to come and block their door to ask them turn down the volume. But
They do?
No, but I have never done. I don't dare to. I don't dare to ask them. I don't dare to ask them to turn down the volume. I
So
wait.
why? So why?
I have to do. I have to listen and wait until they are tired or they feel asleep.
So, okay, if you ask them, they don't care? So if you ask them to turn down the volume.
I think if I ask them, they will do as my, but I don't, but I didn't. Because I think they have freedom and they do break the rules. they can sing before 10 p.m. is if they sing loudly at night after 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. they break the rules, but now they sing in daytime. Maybe they make a noise only, make the noise and they don't break the rule.
Yeah, of course, but something is against the rules. Like, but another thing that if something is moral, it's acceptable. So it's like, of course, it's annoying. So as a neighbor, you're being just, annoyed by their noise. So that is really important. So it's not something just, that when we live somewhere, it's not only about rules. So yeah, it's something different, how to treat, how to behave, how to actually. So that is really important. Yeah, you can ask them to turn down the volume, and why not? You can do it, but you never done. Maybe they have the freedom to do. Yes, they have
Yes,
freedom, but
they have freedom.
I think they still bring. It's a kind of rule. They can sing, but you're just so good neighbor. In my area, people call 911.
Oh, you, when I go to your country, your house and your neighbor is have a distance, not next the door. But in Vietnam, we don't have enough land to build the house, this house and that house to have a distance between two houses. So when you sing karaoke, it's okay. But in Vietnam, we built the house very close.
Yeah, normally you mean that you live, of course, in an apartment, or if you live, so it's like we have detached house, like, of course,
We
but
live
you
in.
don't live, of course, in detached houses, like,
Yes, yes.
maybe semi-detached, like, you have one common wall. Yeah, so you can easily, so we have
Semi.
detached. That is like this. You have, for example, this is one, okay, and this is another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like close. But when you say detached, like this one, an area, and again this one, like this. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
That house like
So you
that.
can say that in my area, so detached, okay, or you can say that houses are spaced out.
And how about how to say
Let me
the
say,
houses
okay,
in your
for
country?
example, in my area, okay, houses are spaced out.
Spaced
Yeah.
out.
So when you sing, of course, it's but in your country, just houses are built very close together. Are built very close together. This is more natural.
Built.
Are built very close together. Are built very close together. So of course, you can easily, but yeah, of course, you can easily hear what they sing.
In your country, houses are spaced out.
Of course.
But in my country, houses are built very close together.
Yeah.
Yes. And in your country, houses have a big garden in front of your house. I like it. Yeah, most of the houses in the
Yeah, it
US.
depends. Of course, it depends. Yeah, of course, especially in some areas, not everywhere, but yeah, of course. So we actually have this, actually, since past, this is like, the normal. I can say that the typical American house, that is like detached house, just with space and of course a green area around.
Yeah. The houses in the US are well
Yeah.
well organized or well blended. Well
Yeah,
blended.
maybe we can say that. So maybe.
Okay, regulation.
So because it's not only that, you know, because most of people think that, you know, all the houses and people are detached houses. No, maybe we have attached, detached, so different forms, but yes, yeah, most of them. Because, you know, especially in urban areas, so we have lots of actually just attached homes and countryside and of course rural area, so we have detached, so it depends. So of course we have townhouses, like, you know, multi-story homes, so it depends where you live. But yes, just a typical that you normally see in movies is, you know, you can see the countryside and of course rural areas, and of course some areas is just some rich, so of course they are detached homes. Yes.
In Vietnam, we have regulation that we cannot make noise from the 9 p.m. We have the regulation.
You have a regulation that you can't make noise. Yeah.
We can't make noise from the 9 p.m.
Yeah, that is really good actually.
If it what's it? Forced to leave the house.
So there is a regulation that you're not allowed to make noise. It's actually that, yeah, noise law. So we can say,
Noise.
and of course we have these laws in my country, especially many cities and states. So we have the same, and we have limits on when and how loud, for example, noise can be made. So you know that, for example, about loud music, we have exactly 9 or 10, after 9 or 10. So we have, yeah. And you know that about car alarms, so you're not allowed. So, and we about neighbors, loud talking. So we don't have something like they're not, and barking dogs. So there's some, yeah, different rules. We have the same, and I think it's really good. So it makes people live easier and ensure that people aren't distributed by, I don't know, just during especially nighttime hours. So it's really important. So, but I think it's good to have this type, and we have. And if people don't care, we will call 911. So, yeah, we don't wait. We are not that much good. Yeah. Yeah.
911.
So you can make your sentence this way, as you said. There is a regulation that you can't make noise, especially after, for example, 9 p.m. or from 9 p.m. Yeah. That is, there is a noise law. Okay. And the last one, evict.
The government asked the locals to evict from land or avoid land erosion. You touch me
Yeah, of course, soil erosion. Of course, I know land erosion. You mean I got it. So, but I didn't get your point exactly. Could you say it again? So, ask to.
The government asked the locals to evict
their lands in order to avoid land erosion. Okay, so just let me say, here, evict is, as I told you, different. Now, you want to say that when you want to, but because when you say evict, it means you force someone. You have to go out. But actually, when government, for example, something that happened, evacuate. Evacuate, let me change the color. Okay. Yeah, that means when, so the government ask local to evacuate, okay, their homes, okay, their lands, to avoid land erosion. When you say evict is by force. And you know that you, for example, you evict from somewhere, from your land. It means you have to, they force you to leave. So evict from land, evacuate the land. This one is better, of course.
Forced to leave. Forced
to leave, of course.
Okay. Government, no, the policeman come to the apartment to evict the thief.
Nope. Nope. Not this one.
The government maybe next door there is someone make illegal activities and the police comes, the policeman come to evict him.
Well, let's make it better. So about the first one, okay. That was good. No, it's good. No, it's good. There is no problem. Let me say, for example, I don't know, next door, there is someone engaging in illegal activities, okay? Yes. And the police came to evict him. This one is making illegal activity, no. So let me write it here. So this is about the first one. It's good. Okay, so making, for example, next door, okay, there is someone engaging in illegal activities, okay, and the police came to evict him. This one is good, okay? So making illegal, no, engaging in illegal activities is good. Policeman, no. The police came. The policeman, no. And about the first one, the first example, you can say this way. For example, the government announced that the police would come to the apartment to evict the thieves. This one is better. Okay, so let me write it here. So, of course, it's not really common, but it's the government Okay.
As
Announced
announced
that the police would come to department to evict the thieves. This one is better. But we don't use policemen. Okay.
the government announced that the police would come to
The police would come to department to evict the thieves.
Yeah.
This one. So this one is better, maybe.
Come to the apartment to evict the thief. Okay.
Okay, and now let's see, one moment. Okay, I think we can have a video. So what are tourism on cities? Okay, one moment. Okay, the effects of well. Okay, I think we have a good tourism. So let's see, watch it together. One moment.
Have been protesting against tourism. Is tourism destroying cities? Residents of some of the most beautiful cities around the world have been protesting against tourism. And there has been anti-tourist violence in places like Barcelona and Venice. But why? There are 4 ways that tourism can affect cities: overcrowding, pollution, bad behavior, and rising prices. Let's begin with overcrowding. Venice, a city of 60,000 people, welcomes nearly 30 million visitors a year. That's 76,000 tourists a day. Spain had 82 million visitors in 2017, with 9 million visiting Barcelona alone. There are even traffic jams climbing Mount Everest now. Overcrowding has an obvious effect on traffic, footpaths, and queues. It can also affect a city's culture and identity, like in Barcelona, where locals are complaining tourism is diluting its vibrancy and history. Tourists also bring with them pollution and waste. They consume heaps of water and food, while causing environmental damage to the destination. In Thailand, a beach has been closed to protect its coral reefs from tourists. In Indonesia, Bali's famously pristine beaches are now being swamped by garbage, and their underground water sources are being drained too quickly. The island predicts it will run out of its water supply by 2020. In Venice, cruise ships that bring thousands of tourists each day are damaging the local environment with engine pollution and water displacement. Tourism even accounts for 8% of global greenhouse gas emissions, mainly from transportation. And then there's the issue of tourists' bad behavior. There are many viral videos that show tourists behaving inappropriately, from airport check-in meltdowns and assaults on cabin crews to deliberately damaging ancient ruins. Locals in the Brazilian city of Rio de Janeiro are furious at drunk tourists at their infamous Ipanema beach. In Croatia, people are fed up with loud and rude tourists, so fines are being issued to those who drink alcohol in public. And Bali is even considering imposing restrictions on temples after tourists continue to climb on the holy sites or pose in swimwear. Finally, tourism causes a rise in prices, especially when it comes to short-term rentals. Like with Airbnb, an accommodation app where users can share their homes with tourists. It has grown enormously with over 5 million lodgings across 81,000 cities. But it has its downsides. Landlords in major cities make more money out of short-term leases on Airbnb, forcing local tenants to pay more. In some cities, it can raise housing prices as people look to invest in Airbnb homes. These rising prices are not just limited to Airbnb though. In Cambodia, citizens were evicted from fishing villages so that resorts could be built on the beaches. The increased cost of living is forcing residents out from some of the most beautiful cities in the world. But there is hope. Cities are starting to recognize the impacts of mass tourism and are looking to introduce measures to deal with the load. Fines for behavior are being introduced in cities all over the world. Regulations are starting to hit Airbnb, with their listings in San Francisco, Barcelona, and Paris dropping. Iceland and Greece are instituting caps on arrivals. Venice is planning to divert massive cruise liners to reduce some of the environmental damage. And growing recognition of over-tourism could push visitors into more environmentally and culturally friendly tourism, in an attempt to save some of these delicate sites for generations to come.
Wow. So, downsides, that is, okay, let me share the word. Okay, so what are the 4 effects of tourism in cities?
What are the 4 effects? Bad behavior,
Perfect.
rises.
Of course, and prices, of course, very good. And which one is the worst, do you think? Which one is the worst one? The most serious effect, maybe?
Maybe pollution.
Definitely agree with you. Yeah, of course.
Overcrowded. Yeah, rises. Yes.
Yeah. And do you think that tourism affects your country the same as mentioned?
Yes.
Yes.
Yesterday we discussed
Of course.
about this.
Of course. Yeah, of course. And let me keep going. So of course we talked about it. And now let's talk about
let me read the
sure, of course.
In my opinion, what is the most serious effect?
You said pollution.
Pollution. Can you list some measures taken to tackle the problem? Can you list some measures?
No, we didn't have. So we didn't have some just measures taken. But you can say, okay, so you can maybe express your opinion. So what do you think? So how government can actually take an action and take some measures to tackle, to deal with problems. Or for example, I don't know, in order to avoid rising the price, or for example, pollution. Do you think government can do something or no?
The government have solution. I think they can give solution, but it's difficult, very difficult to have a good solution. But I think they can.
Yeah, of course, maybe some legal, just, some regulations, some legal activities like, okay, if you litter somewhere, you will be fined and you need to pay to the government before leaving the country. So that is, so if they can watch and monitor everywhere, so that is really important to have CC and to set CC cameras everywhere, especially in actually tourist attraction sites. So that is really important to monitor everywhere. So if someone tries to destroy or ruin or damage a site or tourist attraction or leader, or I don't know, I think yeah, they should be fined and they should pay, because actually the government need money to repair, to fix the issues. And the second, actually the next one is that, unfortunately governments don't consider local people anymore. Like for example, in Venice, yeah, most of people, that travel to this country to, of course, to see and to visit the city. So as you just watched, boat, ships, of course. So air pollution, noise pollution, and of course, just moving water. So it makes the life really difficult for local. So local people, so it's really important not to do, okay, so we can put some limits. But unfortunately, the only thing that government think about is money, so invest. So this is actually what I told you about, this one, dependence. So that is like, you know, when you become economically dependent on tourism, you can't avoid. So you need to actually take an action in order to take actually your focus or concentration from tourism to another field maybe. And then I think you can resolve the issues, but not this way. And bad behavior, unfortunately, we talked about celebrities, even celebrities, that we can see lots of negative and, you know, just, you know, toxic behaviors, like really negative. So I think we need to force them to leave. Well, okay, you want to read the next one? And do you think that tourism affect your country? You just said, just, you know, of course you explained.
Let's move to the another part.
Boris, let's keep going. Okay, yeah. Do the benefits of tourism outweigh its drawbacks? Yes or no?
Do the benefits of tourism outweigh its drawback? What does it mean?
Okay, so outweigh means is greater, is more important.
Outweigh is more important.
Yeah.
Outweighs is more important.
Yeah, it means outweigh, yeah, to be greater or more important, especially when it comes of value. Is more valuable, is more important.
And drawback is a downside.
Downside, of course, negative points, disadvantage.
Drawback.
Of course.
Downside. The benefit of tourism? Yes, I think so. The benefits, we have a lot of benefits from tourism. We have a benefit and drawback, downside. At the same time, we have a benefit and drawback.
Yeah, of course. But we need to balance, so you think?
And we need to balance. Yeah, I believe so. Increase individual knowledge about the world, exposed to a variety of culture, open doors to new opportunities, improve the standard of living, create new jobs, reduce unemployment, boost local economy. I don't know. Do the benefit of tourism outweigh in drawback?
So I think, so you can mention this point that is really important. So tourism is like, you know, a temporary industry, not permanent. What is that? For example, in peak season. So of course, not all the time, or for example, every time in the whole year, you have tourists from all around the world. No, maybe in few months or some month. Okay, so then you have time to fix. So I think, yes, we can say that it has more benefit than drawbacks. Like, yes, we have, for example, noise pollution, air pollution, but it's not something permanent. So we have time to fix to tackle the issues. So, but you know, we have a period of time that we can make money. So some actually, especially some countries, don't have any other industry. So they are dependent on tourism. And tourism, yeah, bring lots of benefits for the countries that, you know, don't have any other industry, like, I don't know, car, like, for example, like natural resources. So that is really important to pay attention. So I believe so. Of course, so it's like, you know, learning about different cultures, job opportunities, and of course, reduce unemployment. It directly affect local economy. On the other hand, there are some disadvantages that we need to consider, but since these disadvantages are temporary, just for a period of time, we can deal with. Yeah, so we can balance advantages and, you know, between advantages and disadvantages. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, okay, let's have a look at the rest of questions. Number 2, what should we do to improve tourism? I want you to think about it and give me your answer. And
Dealing with overcharge. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And
We'll discuss later.
scamming in many, of course. Yeah. And talk about an unforgettable experience you had when you travel. So you can say. And what is ecotourism? I would discuss this. This is really good. Ecotourism. Do you think it's a solution to? Yes, I think so. That is really good. We would discuss this. And this one. Should the government try to improve domestic tourism or try to attract international tourists instead? In your opinion, how will tourism in Vietnam change in the next few decades? Okay, that's it.
Yes, okay.
Well, so have a great weekend and wonderful day. See you next week. You're welcome. Great to talk to you again. So have a nice day. Goodbye.
Yes. Bye. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Goodbye. You too.
Yeah, bye.